Journey to the West, an audio drama series. Chapter 9, Part 1. We will speak no more of Guangrui devoting his life to his job and Xuanzang to cultivation. We instead return to the mighty and thriving city of Chang'an, the capital of Great Tang. Outside the city was Jinghe, or the Jing River, and by its shore lived two wise men. One was a fisherman named Zhang Shao, and the other was a woodcutter named Li Ding. Both were scholars who were never certified by an exam, mountain dwellers who happened to be literate. One day in Chang'an, after selling the wood on their shoulders and carp in their baskets, the two men entered a tavern together. After getting half drunk, they each took a bottle with them before walking home on foot by the bank of the Jing River. Zhang Shao said, "Brother Li, I have been thinking. Those who compete for fame die for fame. Those who seize wealth perish for wealth. Those granted titles sleep with a tiger in their arms. Those blessed with favors from above walk with a snake in their sleeves. When you make the calculation, none of that can compare to our lives here among beautiful rivers and green mountains. We are free. We are content with a simple life, and we go where life takes us." Li Ding said, "You make a great point, Brother Zhang, but your beautiful rivers are not as good as my green mountains." Zhang Shao said, "Your green mountains are not as good as my beautiful rivers, and I have a poem to prove it." He then composed a poem about the bliss of life on boat. Li Ding, unconvinced, composed a poem in the same format to detail the joy of life in the mountains. Unable to convince each other, the two of them thus engaged in a battle of poetry for a total of 7 rounds, illustrating the colorful lifestyles they thought was better than the rest. And soon they arrived at a crossroad. After bowing farewell, Zhang Shao said, "Brother Li, do take care on your way home. Watch out for tigers when you climb the mountain. Should any danger fall upon you, I will be missing an acquaintance tomorrow." Li Ding heard this and became outraged, saying, "You rascal! Good friends will die for each other. How could you put a curse on me? Should I be murdered by a tiger, you will be capsized by violent waves." Zhang Shao said, "I will never capsize in the river." Li Ding said, "The wind and cloud in the skies cannot be predicted. The will and woe of life is a matter of chance. How can you be so sure that you will be fine?" Zhang Shao answered, "Brother Li, even though your words make sense, you still have no idea what will come next. It's not like my business, where I know exactly what comes next, so I am sure I will not be faced with such dire situations." Li Ding said, "You make a living on water. It's a menacing place full of uncertainty. What do you mean that you know exactly what comes next?" Zhang Shao answered, "You have no idea. In Chang'an, on the street by the west gate, there is a fortune teller. I give him a golden carp every day, and in return he gives me a prediction from his sleeves. As long as I go to his instructed locations, I always make a good catch. I bought a prediction from him again today, and he told me to lower my net in the east bend of the Jing River, as well as to cast my line from the west bank. That way, I will certainly come back with loads of fish and shrimps. When I head to town tomorrow, I will sell them for money to buy wine. I shall chat with you then, my brother." The two hens bid farewell and parted. But as they would say, when you talk on the road, someone is hiding in the grass. It happened that a patrolling Yecha from the Jing River residence overheard the discussion about this fisherman always getting what he wanted. And so the creature hurried back into the Crystal Palace and reported urgently to the Dragon King. "Disaster! Disaster!" The Dragon King asked, "What disaster?" The Yecha answered, When I, your subject, was patrolling the waters by the riverbank, I overheard a conversation between a fisherman and a woodcutter. When they parted, the language got really harsh. The fisherman said, "In Chang'an, on the street by the west gate, there is a fortune-teller who gets everything right. The fisherman gives him a carp every day in exchange for a prediction, which brings him a huge catch every single time. If we let the man keep making these accurate predictions, won't all the aquatic creatures be caught eventually? Without them, who will exhibit the splendor of this river residence? Who will turn the waves to show your mighty powers, great king?" The Dragon King was outraged. He grabbed a sword and was about to head to Chang'an to kill the fortune-teller. But right next to him, his children and grandchildren, along with his subordinates made up of shrimp, crab, and fish, all suggested, "Please calm your anger, great king. As the saying goes, a sentence passing by the ear is not to be fully trusted. If you go, great king, your steps will be followed by cloud and rain. We fear this will alarm the people of Chang'an, and heaven may blame you for it. You, great king, know how to show and hide yourself without being seen, and can transform in countless ways. Just transform into a scholar and pay a visit into the city of Chang'an. If the man does exist, it won't be too late to kill him. If no such man exists, you won't end up harming an innocent person." The Dragon King agreed, so he dropped the treasure sword and gave up on cloud and rain. Upon going on shore, he shook his body and turned into a scholar dressed in white. How very handsome and well-groomed he was! Every movement and speech perfectly appropriate for a student of Confucianism. And so in strides he made his way straight to the street by the west gate of Chang'an. There he saw a bunch of people crowding and mingling noisily. Inside the crowd was a lofty voice proclaiming, "The one born in the year of dragon is again arriving at this year of dragon. For a partner born in the year of tiger, though, there is a conflict. Here we have the earthly branches of Yin, Chen, Si, Hai. Yin represents the year of tiger, Chen represents the year of dragon, Si represents the year of snake, and Hai represents the year of pig. Though your dates of birth fit together very well, the day may be in conflict with the celestial god of Tai Sui." The Dragon King heard the words and knew this was where the fortune-teller was. So he walked up and separated the crowd to look inside. It was a very neatly decorated place, filled with elegant ornaments and a most complete collection of divination classics and instruments. The man could see the future and the past, like seeing the moon in a mirror. He could tell who would thrive and who would fail as clear as a god. He knew the worst and best, and all about life and death. His speech could bring wind and rain, his writing could shock ghosts and gods. His full name was written on the sign, Master of Divination, Yuan Shoucheng. But who was he really? Turns out, the fortune-teller was the uncle of Yuan Tiangang, who at the time served as the head of the Imperial Office of Astronomy. His name was Yuan Shoucheng, and he surely had an extraordinary appearance. His features were refined, and his skills unmatched in Chang'an as well as the whole nation. The Dragon King entered to meet him. After the formalities, the guest was invited to the seat of honor as a servant boy offered him tea. The fortune-teller asked, "What brought you here, dear sir?" The Dragon King answered, "Please predict the weather." The fortune-teller then did his trick, and made the following prophecy. "Cloud will veil the mountain top, mist will cover the tips of tree branches. Should there be any offering of rain, it will definitely take place tomorrow morning." The Dragon King asked, "When will it rain tomorrow? How much rain will there be?" The fortune-teller answered, "Cloud will gather during the 5th shichen of tomorrow. Thunder will strike during the 6th. By the 7th shichen there will be rain, and by the 8th The rain will be enough. The fallen rainwater will measure 3 尺 and 3.48 cun in depth. The Dragon King chuckled. Such predictions are no joke. If rain did come tomorrow at the time and death exactly as you predicted, I shall give you 50 taels of gold as reward. If there is no rain, or you got the time and death wrong, I'll be honest with you, I will surely break your door and tear down your signs. You will be immediately expelled from Chang'an so you can no longer deceive the public. The fortune-teller happily agreed and said, It's all up to you. Please head out. Please do. I shall meet you tomorrow after the rain.